What's up, guys? Today I want to talk a little bit about why we should put a little more respect on Steph Curry's name. Now, I'm the kind of guy that gets into basketball discussions anywhere, like not just the barbershop, not just on here. I like to start stuff on social media. Those that follow me on social media know I like to start basketball arguments anywhere. And one of the things I hear all the time is, man, all Steph Curry do is shoot threes. I hear that so much. And basketball purists and the guys that really study the game know that just frustrates me to hear that. When I hear a guy say all he does is shoot threes, that just already, you done put yourself out of any further basketball discussion and debates for me. Because obviously you don't really pay attention. And so let me start right there with all Steph Curry does is shoot threes. That is the biggest understatement to ever hit basketball. Is all Steph Curry shoot. All he does is shoot threes. So you that means you will literally sit there and say the best shooter to ever walk this earth, all he does is shoot threes. That'd be the same as if I said all Michael Jordan did was dunk, or if I said all Kobe Bryant did was take fadeaways. But you have to realize that when someone perfects that craft and it becomes unstoppable, saying that's all they do is that's still, you still prove my point. He's the best at that. So saying all he does is shoot, it's like saying all he does is produce. So let's break that down a little bit. So as of right now, Steph Curry sits second in career all-time three-pointers made. And he's done it in almost 600 games less than first place Ray Allen. Ray Allen is 154 threes ahead of Steph Curry. And as we all know, Ray Allen is retired now after 18 seasons and 1,300 games. Steph, being 154 behind him, is in his 12th season and have only played 759 games. So 6 seasons less, almost 600 games behind, and he's only 153 behind him. And as we know, Steph can go off for 10 threes, 11 threes any given night. So just to put that into context, Steph can easily catch Ray Allen in his 13th season in what it took Ray Allen 18 seasons to accomplish. 13 years of Steph Curry, already more than 18 years of Ray Allen. And just to put that into context, so for the people that want to sit back and say, well, all he does is shoot, so of course he's gonna be second. I bet his percentage is terrible. Let's talk about what a bad percentage is. Steph has made 2,819 threes and has only attempted 6,494. So to put that in perspective, he's for a career still shooting 41%. So for those who want to compare, let's take James Harden. James Harden is 5th in all-time three-pointers made. No one ever says all James Harden does is shoot. He's a scorer. We all know he's one of the best scorers ever. But no one ever says, well, all James Harden does is shoot. James Harden is 2,441 three-pointers made, 5th in the list, about close to 400 less three-pointers than Steph Curry, but has already attempted almost 300 more threes. But we don't hear anyone say, well, all James Harden does is shoot threes. So let's move on from that. Steph Curry also holds the records for taking the fewest games to reach 1,000, 2,000, 2,500 made threes. All three of those levels, he reached those the fastest out of anybody. Fastest to reach 1,000 threes, fastest to reach 2,000 threes, and fastest to reach 2,500 threes. And he's still in the 2,800s. So I'm quite certain he's going to be the fastest to reach 3,000. And probably the only, seeing as how no one has been broken 3,000 threes yet. So, and he's on pace to break that in 2 more seasons of healthy Steph Curry. He's on pace to break that 2 years from now. Steph is also still the only unanimous MVP selected in NBA history, as we all know. And also led his team, the Golden State Warriors, to a 73-9 season record. So to say all he does is shoot is like saying all he does is produce for his team. Steph's shooting has created the best record in NBA history, along with Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, of course, and the other guys on that Warriors team. But without Steph's shooting ability, the Warriors dynasty does not happen. And I think it's time that we as basketball fans take notice of that and appreciate that. Steph Curry also became the 7th member of the prestigious 50-40-90 club during his unanimous MVP season. He averaged 30 points and shot 50% from the field, 45% from three, and 90% from the free throw line. 45% from three. I don't think, and guys that do not know the game or don't study the game will not understand how crazy that is to shoot 45% from three at the clip that he's shooting the ball. Because as I've stated multiple times, we have people saying all he does is shoot, but he makes 45% of those shots. Steph Curry isn't known for his defending, but he also led the NBA with 169 steals in the 2015-16 season. Leading the NBA in steals is no small feat. So that means we don't attribute his defense that much, but 169 steals, leading the NBA, he can't be that bad at defense. He's not a liability on the defensive end. Steph Curry also holds the record for most three-pointers made in the NBA Finals game. He achieved this by hitting 9 threes against the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 2 of the 2018 NBA Finals. So he's also done this on the highest stage. Now, we have a lot of people that say Steph doesn't show up in the finals, but if we want to be realistic, the year that the first time the Warriors beat the Cavs and Andre Iguodala won Finals MVP, we had Steph Curry right there, who was just as eligible to win that award, but they decided to give the Iggy for guarding LeBron and holding him to 35, 10, and 9. Nothing major. So I just think we don't put enough of respect on the name of the best shooter in the world. Steph Curry also set the record for the most three-pointers made in a single postseason campaign by dropping 98 on the same during the 2015 NBA playoffs. This record was unmatched until just a year later on one fewer attempts by his teammate Klay Thompson. So him and Klay Thompson are number 2 and Steph number 2 and Klay number 1 on all-time three-pointers made in the entire postseason. So let's move on from that, from the playoffs. 2010s was clearly the decade of the Golden State Warriors, and Stephen Curry was the forefront of it with 6 consecutive NBA All-Star selections from 2014 to 2019. So over half a decade, Steph Curry was a All-Star. Also 2 MVPs in that span. Also 3 championships in that span. And he's also the greatest player in Golden State Warriors history. As we all saw, he passed Wilt Chamberlain for most points by a Golden State Warrior. And how many times have we heard anybody break a record held by Wilt Chamberlain? Let's just think about that. How many Wilt Chamberlain records have ever been broken? And I can honestly say Steph is the first guy I've ever seen break any record that Wilt Chamberlain previously held. And so it's easy to say now at this point in time, Steph Curry is the greatest Warrior of all time, the greatest shooter of all time. And we can even say he's one of the most selfless superstars of all time for ingratiating Kevin Durant into his team, which was clearly his team. He was the leader and the focal point of their offense, ingratiating Kevin Durant, probably the second best player in the world at the time, and allowing him to be the number 1 option for that team. And I think he just gets the credit for that. So lastly, I want to say that saying all Steph Curry does is shoot is once again the biggest understatement of basketball history. And to say that and not say all James Harden does is shoot, or to say that and not say all Damian Lillard does is shoot, is the craziest thing to me. So we have a guy in the 50-40-90 club. We have a guy shooting 45% with also taking over 8 threes a game. We have a guy almost number 1 in three-point shooting, field goals, and taking 6 seasons less to get there. And probably a good, healthy season away from being number 1. Probably 2 seasons away from being the first one to hit 3,000. saying all he does is shoot is clearly the biggest understatement in NBA history. And so all I want guys to take away from this is we gotta leave that alone. We gotta leave that behind in the past. Steph may not be the player we want him to be. I think we sometimes want guys to be dunkers and athletic and look the part, like how LeBron James seems like such a larger than life figure. So does Giannis Antetokounmpo. So does Kevin Durant, 7 feet, handling the ball, shooting, things like that. But then we have little skinny Steph. Early on in his years, they was calling him the baby-faced assassin because he didn't have no facial hair. He looked young, looked frail, but then he's killing your favorite point guard every time. And so that's just my personal belief of where that stems from. And it's time to let it go. He's proven to us time and time again that he's the greatest shooter of all time. And we need to put respect on that name.
So put some more respect on Steph Curry's name, you feel me? So that's it for my boy Nelson, man. It's wrapping up his podcast episode number 11. This Curry is way more than a shooter, man. So put some respect on his name, man. He's not just a shooter. He's just a ball player. He's a hooper. He does a lot more than just shoot. He dribbles more to the game. So hit up Nelson, man. Let him know how you feel about this podcast. Comment. Let him know, man. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Give us some feedback on it, man. So hit him up on Twitter at NellyH34. Follow him on Facebook at Nelson Haskin. Get a good conversation going and follow his podcast. Subscribe to us. Like us. Comment on YouTube. Let us know what you think. 5-star review on Apple. And of course, subscribe to us on Spotify. And show us some love, man. Appreciate you listening. Tune in next week for a great conversation we're going to have. Thank you. We out.